Hey, my friends. Welcome to the Dallas Daily Show coming at you from the home studio. Once again, we're going to be back at the Neighborhood Loan Studio next week. But today we are talking about this idea low on gas and stuck in traffic. Let's hop into the conversation. So, a few weeks ago, I was in my car and that little beep line came on, that light came on, the low fuel light. Now, I should tell you that I have a whole history with that light, and I'll explain that in just a second. But that low on fuel light came on right as I was pulling into heavy accident traffic on Highway 40 in St. Louis, and it was like bumper to bumper. I had just passed the last exit for the next couple, for probably the next mile or two, 2 miles, something like that, and it was sit still, and my car was running, and then I saw the thing, and then there comes a point on my car where the little light doesn't just come on and go solid saying low on fuel. It starts to blink on you. The final square of your cubes of gas starts to blink on you, and then the screen pops up, refuel now. All right, so I'm sitting in traffic, that begins to happen, and then the light starts blinking and the refuel message goes on, and I start panicking. I'm like, oh no, I'm going to run out of gas. I'm going to be the stalled car that they talk about on the news tonight. Bumper to gas, 2 miles until the next exit, low fuel light on, everything's blinking. A level of scarcity comes over me when that low fuel light comes on. My wife cracks up every time she sees that occur, because the moment the low fuel light comes on, I'm like, all right, next exit. And she's like, honey, we've got like 12 more miles. Don't you dare tell me how far we've got. I need to get off this exit now. Now, I say that because I have a history of way back in the day. Gosh, what had this been now? 2008, bought, or 2007, I'm sorry, bought a brand new Toyota Prius. Now, this was at the time the Prius was the new hot car, and we lived in Los Angeles. However, it was like a 9 month waiting period to get a Prius in Los Angeles. I knew a guy who could get me one off the boat, right? I got to see mine made and watch the number go through the manufacturing process. I got to track the boat as it came across the Pacific Ocean. And then it got delivered in St. Louis, Missouri, where this guy was, because I only had to wait 2 months for a St. Louis delivery versus 6 to 9 months out in Los Angeles. So bought the car in St. Louis and then thought, oh, this is easy. I'll just put 1,900 miles on the car from St. Louis to LA. We'll just break her in on the road. We'll go the southern route. It'll be fantastic. Thought that's the way to get the new Prius. The other reason I got the Prius, just so you know, was in Los Angeles at the time. I think it was the first 5,000 Priuses on the road. There are high occupancy vehicle lanes, or what we call carpool lanes, in LA. If you don't know LA traffic, that's all I got to say about LA traffic is, we lived 13 miles from my office on average, 75 to 80 minutes to get there. 13 miles gives you an idea. However, if you had a Prius, you could get an HOV sticker, which meant you could drive in the carpool lane by yourself. You didn't have to have a passenger with you. So part of why we got the Prius was, number one, it could sit in traffic, not an issue. Number two, I got the high occupancy vehicle thing. All right. Number three, everybody was like, look at you. Oh my goodness. You bought yourself a Prius. Like, and then there was a little bit of the status rub at the time too. So we bought this Prius. We're driving it. We're picking up in St. Louis when it arrives. Bought a one-way ticket, driving back. Now, the Prius was getting 40 something miles to the gallon, 45 miles to the gallon. Long story for a really fun punchline here, everybody. We get driving, we get toward Colorado, and it says like next exit 5 miles or something. Because on Highway 70, as you go further out west, some exits are several miles away. It was like 5, 6 miles. The low fuel light came on. In my brain, I'm thinking that means I've got at least a gallon of gas, which according to Prius math, I should get a solid 40 miles out of a gallon, if not more. So I'm cruising along, not a problem. The little blinking light, I'm like, we're good. Half a mile from the exit, gonna pull off. Kid you not, all of a sudden the whole car lights up. The yield sign, the warning sign, the beep beep beep, everything starts beeping on me as I'm going down the off ramp, and I have to then turn back under the highway to get to the gas station, and it's like beep beep beep. I don't know, 1/10 of a mile from the gas station and the car just stops. Brand new Prius. I drove it till it was bone dry. Don't know how that happened. Nonetheless, best part is my wife and I get out, we open the car doors, we put it in neutral, and we just start pushing it. She's like walking along the steering side, steering the wheel. I'm pushing it from behind. We're walking up. These two truck drivers are at the gas station. They are losing it. They're cracking up with their big semi and their Ford F-150, right? And they're cracking up, and they run out to give us a hand and help us push it up. And this one guy goes, "Was this one of them new hybrid cars? Man, I told you those things were a piece of crap." And so we're laughing, and I'm like, "No, this is driver error. I wasn't responsive. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do." And they make fun of me the entire time I fill up the tank. I told you, man, you got to just get yourself a Ford F-150. Show all them LA people what it's really like. So we fill up the gas tank. So that story has anchored in my brain since 2007. That story of running out of gas in a hybrid, right? And just stalling out, and this whole, oh my gosh, what the heck? I didn't measure it right. Since then, every time the low fuel light has come on, I get into a mild amount of panic. So you can imagine when I'm actually stuck in traffic and that light goes on, the panic comes up. And I just began to think to myself in this last time, because all of that scarcity took place in me. And I began to think to myself, man, how long have I held on to that story? How long have I let that one experience, which, yes, was embarrassing, and two, it was stupid, and three, it was just like, oh, God, I can't believe I did this, right? But I have allowed that one story to put me into panic every time the same trigger occurs. See where I'm going with this? What might be happening in your own life, my friend? There might be a story that's occurring for you. There might be a thing that's coming up in your mind. And it's an old thing that occurred one time, but what it has done is it has stuck out to you that every time that trigger or some trigger like it occurs, you begin to go into scarcity mindset. Maybe you have panic attacks. Maybe you go into all of this trauma drama, and it doesn't really have any significance on who you are today other than it's keeping you caught in the past. I guess that's kind of a theme of the week. We talked about archaeology in your memory on Tuesday. We talked about, maybe this is the theme for this week, is just this idea of there's something that maybe it's time for you to deal with. And it's time for you to say, yeah, that old trauma, that old drama, that old crisis, I don't need to carry it into the present anymore, because I need to be free to be the future me that I desire to be. And the past you and the past crisis and the past traumas and the past dramas, all of that is keeping you stuck and locked in the loop that you've been in for way too long. If you need to hear it, let me say it. You have permission to be free. You're loved. You are precious, and it's time for you to walk in freedom from that. That's it, my friends. That's all I got for you. Think about the area that you need to maybe roll past and quit allowing the scarcity trigger to get you down. Have a championship day.
Thanks for listening to my dad's podcast. For more tools, go to dallasdailyshow.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.